In this video we're going to show you how to build a data catalog in Microsoft Purview with SAP data. In this case we're going to use SAP ECC6. So our mission is to create, as it says here, meaningful entry in the Purview data catalog from our SAP data. Now the challenge we face is that SAP is big, so the SAP database has around about 100,000 tables. Not all of those tables will contain meaningful business data, so we don't need all of them in our data catalog. The tables in the database also have cryptic names. They don't have meaningful business names, and they have no descriptions and no relationships between them. So we need a solution that's going to give us a more business-friendly view of our SAP database. So I'm going to give you a demonstration now. There's two components. First we're going to look at the Safyr product from Silwood, which is going to connect to SAP and read all of the tables in the database, and give you the opportunity to identify which tables you're interested in and then stage them and get them ready to export to ER Studio. And the second part of the demonstration will see those tables in ER Studio, and then we'll push them across to Microsoft Purview.
This is Safyr with metadata from an SAP system loaded into it. What we can see here is a list of all those tables. At the bottom of the screen you can see that there are just short of 100,000 tables. We're going to try and focus on the material tables, so we're going to do a wildcard search on those tables that contain the string material in their business name, their descriptive name if you like. This brings the result set down to just over 1,000. One of the properties that we extract is the number of related tables. So you can see these columns show the number of child and parent related tables, and we've got it sorted by number of child tables, and that's given us this table Mara at the top. And Mara is effectively the material master table in an SAP system. If we drill into that table, we can see the fields that make up that table. Again, we can see the kind of business name for the fields. We can see what the primary key is. We can see foreign keys. This one is the material type. We can see business definitions. So for each attribute, there is a business definition of that. And we can also look at those related tables. So we can explore those related tables in a bit more detail. So we can see the 62 parents at the top here. We can see the 1,398 child tables of Mara, Material Master, at the bottom. And we can use these facilities to make what we call subject areas. And a subject area is just a folder where we can group tables together. Now you can make your own. There's a lot of flexibility in the product to allow you to build your own subject areas. There are about 1,000 standard subject areas. So I'm going to focus on this one, which brings together a set of tables that give a wider definition of material master. So you've got Mara, the one we started with. You've got things like material descriptions, plant data for material. This is a much more integrated definition of how SAP stores material information. And what I want to do now is to export that into a format that can be loaded into ER Studio. So I'm going to take that subject area and I'm going to make what's called an ERX file from that. Now, ERX is a file format that can be loaded into ER Studio. In the next section of this video, you're going to see that being loaded and visualized as a data model within ER Studio. Let's do that. Let's do the export. You can see it's quite quick. We've exported 36 tables or entities, over 1,000 attributes, 60 relationships.
So we've received the native ERX file from Safyr. We can now load it into ER Studio. So we create a new model, import our ERX file, select our Safyr file, and here it is. And as usual, when we import a model into ER Studio, we've got a physical model and a logical model. In this case, we've pulled from IBM DB2. Now we can arrange our models however we like in ER Studio. So we can select an orthogonal model and we can make it look however we like. Next stage, we've got to check it into the repository in Team Server. So we can select the repository and add the diagram. So it's now checked into the repository. Taking a look at our entity here, we can see that we've got nice logical names for all our entities. We're retaining physical names from SAP. Likewise, the attributes, we've got our logical names and our original physical names. And now as we've checked it into the repository, we can map these to business terms. Now, in this case, I've actually harvested all the logical names of the entities and attributes and created a SAP glossary in ER Studio and automatically mapped those business terms to my entities and attributes. So the next stage is, now it's checked into Team Server and published, we can see it in Team Server. Here it is in our Model Explorer. We can go and look at the diagrams, we can look at the individual entities and see all the useful information that's come across from Safyr. So the next job is to publish across to Purview. So here we are in Purview. We've got a collection for our SAP EC2 instance. And you can see the number of assets is much smaller than if we just scanned the SAP database directly. The SAP database with 100,000 tables can potentially contain millions of individual assets. Now, the Purview collection has two types of objects. Physical assets that we've scanned directly from SAP. So if we had scanned the SAP database directly, that's where they'd reside. Now the assets coming from ER Studio from Safyr will be under business assets using nice logical names. And we can drill down. If we start from the model itself, then here's a list of all of our entities in business language. We can drill down to the individual submodels that have come from Safyr with all the entities within each submodel. If we look at an entity here, we can read all about it. We've got our description, we've got our physical name, any other properties that we've got in ER Studio, custom properties we could have also brought through. Here's all our attributes, again, nice logical names. We can see which submodels it's part of, what relationships it has to other entities. So this is something you can't get directly from the database. So all this has come from Safyr. Then looking at the individual attributes, again, we've got nice clean business descriptions. We've got our short name, the F1 help text that we get from SAP itself. And in this case, we've mapped everything to business terms. If we click on the business term, we can see that this business term is then associated with a number of assets across our SAP model. So this has really kick-started our creation of the data catalog in Purview from SAP, but we've loaded it only with the information that we care about. So to summarize, Safyr produces meaningful models of SAP. Instead of 100,000 very technical tables, it'll produce as a business-friendly model of just the tables that we're interested in, with lots of useful business metadata. ER Studio can then produce diagrams of those models and load them into Purview. And then Purview publishes that data catalog to the wider organization. So the tools working together can really help you document an SAP implementation. From those models, we can also produce enterprise data models. And in other videos, you'll see us talking about how enterprise data modeling can help drive various activities in the organization, one of which is a data mesh program. And Microsoft Purview has lots of new features where you can create a data mesh program, and enterprise standardized models are absolutely key to this. So you can drive all of that program from these SAP models we've produced using Safyr and ER Studio. For more information, come and see us at erstudio.com and book a demo. Thanks.